Hi there, my name's Caitlin Bandy and this is my channel BandysBooks, and today I am here to talk to you about the March new releases that I am super excited about. There are a lot of really good books releasing in March, and gosh, I have to fight the urge every single month to add so many new books to my bookshelf. This is just a handful of the ones that really caught my interest, and hopefully maybe one or two of these will catch your interest as well. So by the time that you see this video, the first handful of books that I'm talking about will have already released. However, they're still new, they're still shiny, they're still exciting, so we're going to talk about them regardless. Releasing on the 2nd of March is Clytemnestra by Costanza Casati. This is a book that follows Clytemnestra, one of the most notorious villainesses, and it basically explores what happened to her in her life to make her the legendary queen that she became. This currently has a 4.37 rating on Goodreads with about 430 or so reviews. On the 7th, there's quite a few books that are going to be releasing all at once. One of the books that I'm really excited about is What Happened to Ruthie Ramirez by Claire Jimenez. This follows a family. So 13-year-old Ruthie disappears one day on her way home from school, and the family never finds out what happened to her. That is until quite a few years later, they're watching a reality TV show, and there is a woman on the TV that is unmistakably Ruthie. So the three sisters set out to the filming location to try and track down what exactly happened to their little sister. This is a debut novel, and it's currently sitting on Goodreads with a 3.79 and about 288 reviews or so. So it sounds pretty good to me. I love the idea of like this family drama exploration. I'm curious to find out why Ruthie went missing. Like, I haven't even read the book and I'm already curious about that. But I think more so this is going to explore like family ties and the bonds between the sisters while they're trying to find out what happened to this other sister. And it just sounds like a really good read. Next up, releasing on the 7th as well, is Go as a River by Shelley Reed. This book takes place in 1940s in a small town called Iola, Colorado. It follows a character named Victoria, who is the only surviving female member of a whole family of troubled men. She is left running the household on her family's peach farm when she comes across a guy named Wilson, who is a drifter from the Four Corners region. Upon their meeting, there is just this instantaneous connection, and this romance that forms causes some danger for Victoria, and so she flees into the wilderness. This is a debut novel, and it sounds really interesting. I think there's going to be some adventure, some mystery, and maybe a little bit of romance. I'm really excited to see what this one is all about. After that, I have another book that's releasing on the 7th. It's kind of a quirky, interesting, horror, eclectic sort of a vibe, and that's Monstrilio. It's a debut novel by Gerardo Samano Cordova. So when Magos loses her 11-year-old son, she is just drowning in grief. She removes a piece of his lung and then nurtures it, and eventually it grows into a carnivorous little creature called the Monstrilio, which she hides in her family's Mexico City villa. This book currently has a 4.40 and it has just over 100 reviews. This sounds like my sort of a book. It is kind of quirky, eclectic, it is a unique concept, a little bit of a horror vibe, and it's okay. Has a little bit of a horror vibe, and it's kind of a concept that I don't think I've read before. I'm really looking forward to getting into this one. Another book that's releasing on the 7th of March is The God of Endings by Jacqueline Holland. This book is about an immortal woman named Colette, who is the head of a fine arts school for children. In 1984, her life is upended by the arrival of a gifted child from a troubled home, the return of a past stalker, and her own uncontrollable hunger. This sounds really good, and this one's been getting a lot of buzz. It's a debut novel, and I'm really looking forward to it. It's currently sitting on Goodreads at a 4.03 with about 260 ratings so far. Now we're gonna head over to the 14th of March. There is also several books releasing on this date, and one of them is a book that I'm extremely excited about. So that book would be Dust Child by Nguyen Phan K. Mai. This book starts in 1969 when sisters Tran and Quinn take jobs as bar girls in Saigon to help pay off their parents' debts. Decades later, Dan, an American pilot, is returning to Vietnam to reckon with his past and the trauma that he suffered during the war. He's dealing with PTSD, and he thinks that this trip might help resolve some of it. And then we have Phong, who is the son of a Black American soldier and a Vietnamese woman. He's been left in an orphanage, and he's going to be setting off to try and track down his family history. This book sounds amazing. Nguyen Phan K. Mai is an incredible writer. Also releasing on the 14th is Stateless by Elizabeth Wine. This is about a female pilot in World War II era. In 1937 Europe, Stella North is chosen to represent Britain in a pilotry competition. She is focused on this competition, but she's also concerned about the growing tensions in Spain and Germany and some sabotage of her equipment and her chances in the competition. It's supposed to be kind of an amicable competition, but it seems like somebody's taking it super seriously, and she's very concerned about that. This sounds amazing. I love books that feature a badass female character. I love the idea of this being one of the first female pilots. I love the idea of the competition and then how the growing tensions with World War II are gonna come into play with this story. I think this is gonna be a really good one. This book is currently sitting on Goodreads with a 4.15 and about 55 reviews so far. After that, on the 14th as well, we have a book called Feed Them Silence by Lee Mandello. This is actually a novella, which is unusual for me. I typically don't love novellas because I always feel like they're a little too short, but this one sounded so interesting I thought I'd give it a try. Dr. Sean Kell-Luden has always been interested in animals' thoughts and perception of the world, and she eventually creates a neurological interface that allows her to connect with animals. This allows her to translate their perception through her own mind. However, this invention is coming with a really heavy cost. This is currently rated at a 4.05 and about 131 ratings so far. This one sounds really interesting to me. It's a unique concept, it's a novella form. I think this is just going to be a fun, really interesting sci-fi sort of a read. I have one book that's releasing on the 21st of March, and that's Poverty by America by Matthew Desmond. This book is going to explore the concept of poverty in the United States. Currently, 1 in 8 children in the United States are not able to afford the basic necessities that they need to get through life. This book draws on history, reports, and data to show how affluent Americans knowingly and unknowingly contributed to keeping poor Americans poor. This is currently rated at a 4.38 and has about 50 reviews. This sounds like it's going to be really good. This author has written other nonfiction books before that were well applauded, and I think this one probably will be as well. And then the busiest publishing day of the entire month, the 28th. There are so many books coming out on March 28th. I have a handful to highlight here. First up is A House with Good Bones by T. Kingfisher. This is probably the biggest, most notable release of the month. Kingfisher is a very well-known and well-respected author. This is a horror story, and it follows a character named Sam who returns home to visit her mom and, see how things are going. And upon return to her mother's home, she notices that the house is suddenly very austere. All the warmth is gone, things have been taken off the walls, it's been painted a stark white, and more importantly, her mother is super jumpy, looking over her shoulders, startling at every single little noise, and Sam has no idea what's going on. So Sam is going to be trying to dig up the truth, but sometimes secrets are best kept buried. This is currently rated at a 4.12 with about 430 reviews so far. I've been hearing some pretty good buzz about this one, and I'm sure that I'm going to enjoy it when I finally pick it up. And then another book that I'm super excited about, also releasing on the 28th, is Lone Woman by Victor Laval. I have actually already purchased a copy of this book. It was a book of the month option, which I'm so excited about. This is set in 1914 Americas, and we have a character named Adelaide. Adelaide is running from a secret that caused the death of her parents, a secret that still haunts her. And she decides to go west and take up the government on their offer of free land to anybody that's capable of working it and cultivating it. Little does she know, though, that she's not alone out in the wilderness. Her secret has followed her, and with disastrous results. Victor Laval is a magician with horror stories, and I loved his book, The Changeling. I read it in February. I'm so looking forward to diving into Lone Woman. I think this is going to be an excellent read. It's probably the first book off of this list that I'll be picking up. Hello. And then also on the 28th, we have The Lonely Hearts Book Club by Lucy Gilmore. This is probably one of the more warm, fuzzy, lighthearted books on my list here. I don't know if it's really warm and fuzzy, but it just seems like it's going to be a little bit more heartwarming. This is about a woman named Sloane who is a small town librarian, and she doesn't really think that she's a lonely person until the local curmudgeon stops showing up to the library. She's missing their arguments and debates over books. She tracks him down only to find him bedridden and also suffering from some loneliness. So to deal with that, she arranges an impromptu book club, and that's how the Lonely Heart Book Club starts. And since it's middle grade March, I wanted to make sure that I highlighted the publication of a middle grade level book. We have a book called Hamra and the Jungle of Memories. It's written by Hannah Alkoff. And this book is a Malaysian spin on Little Red Riding Hood. We have a character named Hamra who on her 13th birthday is feeling forgotten, left out. Nobody remembered to help her celebrate her birthday. So she breaks a very important rule and she enters the jungle without asking for permission first. Once in the jungle, she picks a jambu and eats it. And from that point forward, her dreams are stalked by a were-tiger. This book currently has a 4.13 rating and about 40 reviews so far on Goodreads. I love the cover of this book. The aesthetic is so beautiful, and this sounds like it's going to be a really fun story. I think I'm really excited about checking this one out. And finally, we have Sea Change by Gina Chung. This is also a book that I think could be kind of more heartwarming vibes, but I think it's going to go through some deep stuff before we get to the heartwarming part. This book is about a woman named Ro who has just gotten into her 30s and she's just not happy with where things are. She's estranged from her mother. Her boyfriend has recently left her for a mission to Mars. She's working a menial job at the aquarium in a local strip mall, and even her best friend has kind of faded out of her life to focus on her own wedding. The only real friend that she has at this point in her life is Dolores, a giant Pacific octopus. When a private collector comes in and purchases Dolores, Ro's life starts to crumble. This book is totally giving me Remarkably Bright Creature vibes. I love the octopus as a main character kind of a vibe, and this is dealing with, personal relationships, feelings, all that kind of stuff. I think this is going to be a really good read. This currently has a 4.26 rating with just under 100 reviews on Goodreads. I think that this is going to be a fun book. I really look forward to it. I mean, I know it's going to delve into some complex emotional stuff, but I love that we're going back to the marine life theme. As a scuba diver, anytime a book incorporates that, I'm like stoked about it. So those are all the new releases that I'm really looking forward to. If you like this video, hit the thumbs up and comment down below. What is releasing in March that you're really excited about? Let me know if I missed anything that you think is going to be really good. And if you're not already subscribed to this channel, you know what to do. Hit the subscribe button down below as well as the notification bell so that you never miss my videos. And that way we can see each other again soon. Thanks so much for joining. Bye.